Andy and John, and today we're working on a 2001 Ford Expedition with a 4.6 liter engine. We are going to attempt to show you the easiest way to change the spark plugs without taking too much stuff off. This should save you a lot of money to be able to do it yourself as opposed to taking it to the dealership or an independent repair shop. So the first thing we're going to do to give ourselves some access is we're going to remove this top engine cover here, which is held on by three 10mm bolts, one on this side, two on the driver's side. Since we already have these loosened, I'm just going to do them by hand, but what you would use is a 10mm socket with a ratchet. Now in our case, we're going to use some cordless power tools just to make things easy, but all this can be done with just your standard hand tools. So we'll get these three out. Don't drop anything. Make sure you have a small magnet, which will help in case you drop anything. You can access or retrieve any bolts or screws that you lose, or drop, I should say. Next, we're going to move the air intake ductwork, which will take an 8mm socket for this clamp up here. We remove this electrical connector here. Should be another one on the bottom down here, which is going to be hard to see, but if you just feel for it, you'll find it. Okay, I can't see it right now, so we're going to move part of this out of the way and then we'll get it loose. So we undo this clamp here, which is actually where the air filter is, which will get removed after this comes out of the way. Back over here, we'll pull this gently from the throttle body because we have two hoses on this side that need to come loose. It's actually a harness, not a connector. If I can find this. There it is. It's kind of buried, so you have to just feel with your hands to figure out where it's at. Okay, this one's not being cooperative, so what we're going to do is we're just going to move this out of the way for now. If we have to take it off, we will. Otherwise, we'll just leave it there. Now what you're looking for to find the spark plugs, you need to find, on this particular vehicle, it has individual coils that go over the spark plugs as opposed to a spark plug wire on older cars. This is it here. There'll be four of them. There's one, two, there's the third one here. The fourth one's back there. It's pretty buried, so that one's going to be kind of tough to get to, but we'll manage. It appears that this metal tube here, which is called the fuel rail, has the fuel injectors on it, is going to be in the way, but we're going to attempt to get it out without removing that because we don't want to make a big mess and have gas everywhere. So what you need to do is you need to unplug this connector here. This is for the coil, which is what gives a spark to the spark plug. Feels like it's on the bottom. Now mind you, this is our first attempt, so as you are learning, we are too. Alright, there we go. And what you need to do is, you can see here on this connector there's a small tab right next to my thumb that you have to squeeze, which moves that plastic piece in there. It's kind of hard to see, but that's what locks the connector on. So you need to squeeze that first and then pull it off. Don't pry it with a screwdriver because you will break it, and then you have a lot of problems. So to take this coil pack off here, we're going to use what looks like a 7mm. Which is something like this. It could be chrome or black, just as long as it says 7mm on it. Most of the cars are metric these days. A small hand ratchet, and we will take this screw loose. Take it off by hand here. And there's your screw, or bolt, whichever you want to call it. And then we'll just wiggle this a little bit, try to get it out of the way, and just pull. And there's your coil with your spark plug boot here, which could also be replaced on higher mileage vehicles, but we're not going to do it. Now in order to get the spark plug out, it's down in that hole. It's kind of hard to see, so a lot of stuff we'll do by feel. We're going to use a spark plug socket, 5/8 inch. This is what it looks like here. We're going to use an extension. It has a little rubber boot inside to help hold the spark plug in line so you don't crack it when you're removing it. This is going to go in a little bit on an angle. Just put it in by hand till you feel it slide on. Then using hand tools only. Never use power tools to install or remove spark plugs. We will take this out. And usually once you get it loose, you can take the ratchet off and spin it out by hand. And there you go. There's the spark plug. See, this is why you use a spark plug socket specifically with the rubber insert in it. That way it holds the spark plug. It makes it better for when it goes in, because they're in there pretty deep, so if you don't have this, it may be almost impossible to get them out. And this is what we're changing. This is your spark plug. Now we're going to reinstall a new spark plug back into the hole. Be real careful when you put them in that you start the threads by hand, because if you get the threads messed up, then you have to have some serious work done. You have to take it to a shop and have them rethread the holes, which can get really expensive. And our goal here is to show you how to do things yourself to save you money. If you don't have tools yourself, maybe you have a friend or a friend of a friend that has some basic hand tools that you can usually use to do a lot of work on cars, this job particularly.